Hey guys, welcome back. Now let us continue the flow of if statement. So in the previous example, we understand what is if statement and all the blocks of code. But now let us take two important things. First is how to use logical operators along with our if statement to check different conditions at one go. And second thing is take input from user in real time. Let me take a problem. I need to take age as input from the user, and then I need to check that if the user is greater than 18 and less than 25, then I have to perform a certain set of code, else I need to perform something else. So let us start. So all I have to do is take a variable age, and then I can use my input function and ask user what is your age. Now remember, it will be stored as string because we know that input functions return a string. So if a user enters 22, that would be stored as string. So for that I need to use int function and typecast it. So now my string will be converted into integer. And now I can use my logical operator to check two conditions along with if statement. So if I use if, now the first condition is the age should be greater than or equals to 18, and my second condition is age should be less than and equal to 25. Now here you can see I have used AND operator. That means both the condition has to be true. And if that happens, I can print you are good to go. And if the certain condition doesn't follow, what I can do is I can remove this indentation, go to the margin of if and type else, and in the else case I can run certain block of code. So now I have saved this particular file. You can see I have an input of age, and then I'm checking two conditions, and if the condition is true I'm going with this particular print option, and if that is false then I'm going into else block. So let me print that. Now it's asking me what is my age. You can see I'm good to go. And if I try that again and give a age of 30, you can see I'm not allowed. So this was a basic program. Now I think I need to talk about nested if else. So what is nested if else? So when we talk about certain condition, they can followed with another condition. Like if I am taking age of 18 and 25, I can also divide and take another if condition inside this particular block. Like if age is 18 to 22, then I need to perform certain tasks, and from 22 to 25 I need to perform certain tasks. So that can be followed inside this particular code. For now I will be taking a basic example that would be really interesting for you. So let us take a number from a user, and then we need to check if the number is positive or negative. If the number is positive, then we need to check that it's an even number or odd number. So that would be much interesting and you can understand that easily. So what I have to do is take a number as I, and I'm taking this as input. So I just need to use input command. And remember, this will be a string, so I need to convert it into int, that is my integer. And now once that is done, all I have to do is break the problem. First what I have to do is I need to check positive and negative. If that is positive, I need to check odd and even. So all I have to do is check about the positive case. So if I is greater than or equals to 0, then I am going to print positive, else I am going to print negative. The second condition we need to follow is if this is a positive number, then we need to check if this is an even number or odd number. That means I need to create a inside condition in my if statement, that is the nested if. So here I need to create a new condition, that is if. Now I need to check if I is divisible by 2 and giving a remainder of 0. So I can use modulus. So I mod with 2, that means the remainder is equals to 0. Then I am good to go. That means if the remainder is 0, then the number is even. So all I have to do is print that condition, and else that would be of course odd. Now I have saved my file. Let us run and check this. So all I have to do is type clear, run our file. Now you can see it asking my number. Let me give 5 and enter. It's a positive odd number. If I test this again and if I give 10, it's a positive even number. So you can see I have divided the conditions into two parts, that is the breakdown of our problem. Before solving any problem, break it down. Once I've checked my positive negative, I further break down the problem. I've used this nested if statement. Now you have to keep in mind that this is one block of code and this is one block of code. When we enter this particular condition, this is another block of code which is inside this if condition, and this is another block of code which is inside this else condition. So you have to take care of them. And you can see the indentation here. This is the 4 space, these are the 4 space. So that means this particular print statement is inside our nested if statement. Now I hope you understand what is nested if statement. You can also use another if statement inside this particular block and you can play with that. Now we need to understand if else, elif. What is that? So let me clear this out and start with a new program and take a better example. So let us take a new condition. I have 4 students and if someone picks A, that means I have to send him to room number 1. If someone picks B, then I have to send him to room number 2. If someone selects the student 3rd, then I have to send him to room number 3, and 4th, then I have to send him to room number 4th. So we can use if, else if condition lot more time. So what we have to do is take an input from a user about the student name, and if student name matches with all the 4 students available, then we need to print a certain roll number, else we need to say that invalid student name. Let us perform that. So all we have to start with is take an input that is student. Now once you take the input, you don't have to do anything since we need string as an input, since we are playing with student name now. And now what I have to do is I need to check all the student name. So suppose the first student name is Shubham, second one is John, third one is Shane, and fourth one is Johnny. So if std is equals to, so we are checking that the student name that is stored in std is equals to Shubham, then we are providing certain instruction. And now I need to check for student number 2. So what I can use is else, that can only add one condition. I need to check more conditions, so I can use else if, that is elif std, that is my second condition, and if this second condition is John, then I need to send him to room number 2. Now I also need to check out a third condition, so I need to go with else and add a new condition, that is if, and I have a fourth condition which is Johnny. So all that is done, but what if there is some else name, maybe Harish? So what I am going to do is I need to give a certain instruction to them. So I can add else, and that else would be, so now if I give you a brief, I am going to check. So if the student name is Shubham, I am proceeding with room number 1, and these all conditions would get skipped and I would just print this one. If this condition is not true, I am going to the second condition, check this out, and if this is true, I am going to print about room number 2. If this is also not true, I am going to the third condition, check this out. If this is true, then I am going to room number 3. If this is also not true, I am going to the fourth condition. If this is also not true, I am going to the else. So at any point of time, if any condition is true, I am going to skip other section. That means if any condition is true, then I am good to go, and let us run this one. I need to give student name, that is if I give Shubham, I have an instruction that proceed to room number 1. Let me try this out, and if I give Scott, oh, I got an error. If I try again, if I give Vinay, I got an error. That means if any of the condition is true, I am good to go and I need to skip all the other conditions. And all the if conditions are not true, then I am good to go with else condition. I hope you understand if, nested if else, logical part, and also else if, that is elif. And also remember that indentations are really important in Python, so you have to be careful. I hope you understand this lecture. Good to see we are growing. See you in the next lecture.